air once again. Introduce yourself, brother.
My name is Robert Junnie Mcdonald, drummer and percussionist.
Drummer and percussion. I heard you on them drums earlier. You did doing your thing. How long you been in the works of the drums? Talk to me.
Well, I started playing when I was about 10 years old, and went on through elementary school, middle school, high school, and then continued on to college. I attended Virginia State College in Petersburg. And actually, I've been playing for about 50 years now.
50 years? You don't look that old, man. Stop, you know what I mean? That's what's good. 50 years you've been in the works. So are you a teacher, or what exactly else do you do with your music?
Well, pretty much that's it. I teach music and play music. I've been playing longer than I've been teaching, though. But I started out when I was in high school, playing out, in the community, doing things, playing in church. Also playing with some local bands, that kind of thing. And I got exposed to jazz from playing in a local band here in the Tidewater area. From a saxophonist I used to work with, a guy by the name of Philippe Fields. He introduced me to jazz, John Coltrane, Charlie Parker,
There's some of the legends, right?
Right, absolutely. And then after that, I just, kind of really got interested in playing jazz and started getting more involved with it. And pretty much that's what I've been doing for the last, 50, 60 years.
And straight playing that music. So this is your regular gig now, so to speak, and your livelihood. That's all you know. I understand.
Right. It's been tough, but I'm still doing it.
So what's the difference between the drums you playing and maybe the African, what is it, the djembe?
Djembe? Well, I also do that too, believe it or not. Yeah, I teach hand
too?
drums also, and I play hand drums, djembe. And if Doc had let me know a little earlier, I would have brought mine with him, but I didn't know that, we were going to be doing some things that, in that category. But yeah, I also teach djembe, and I do congas and hand percussion, djembe, tubanos, congas, bongos, timbales, other percussion instruments. It's nothing really that much different, especially from the material we're doing tonight.
Right.
Because it's all based on African rhythms, majority of it, and especially when you're playing hand drums. And djembe is a native instrument from West Africa,
right?
Mostly around Ghana and Guinea, part of West Africa. So they have basically the same rhythms that they're playing on some of the songs.
And tell me about some of the history of the drum. From my understanding, in the 1700s, that beat couldn't be played. Even today, they have noise audience when they hear that drum. Do you know the history of that? You can share with our viewers right quick.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, in the American history, pretty much, the drums was introduced into this country by the British. When they came over, the colonial settlers settled the East Coast, and they brought along the British musicians with them. And basically, to start off with, it was just a drummer and a flute player. More specific, it was a fife player. And they used the drums and fife to alert the troops, to move them, to give them commands and things of that nature. From there, the drum kind of went into being played in some nightclubs. I guess you call it speakeasies back then.
Okay.
And that's when I guess the invention of the drum set came about, when some of the musicians put a bass drum on the floor and played a snare drum in between their legs. And that's pretty much how the drum set started. And then from there it went into being played in blues and some of the music in New Orleans and Chicago, St. Louis, places like that. But basically, as I mentioned earlier, the drum actually was introduced in this country by the British.
By the British. Now what about then the talking drum was banned in the 1700s, correct?
Yes, it was, and one of the reasons was because they thought that it was a spiritual instrument, which it is.
Right.
But they didn't want it to be part of a spiritual or religious experience because a lot of the people were afraid. They didn't understand, its use in the worship services and things of that nature. So they banned it because they thought it was something evil. And they didn't understand the use of it in worship services. Still, I was just doing a program with a musician from the Congolese in Africa. And it was the same situation. During the worship services, they were using percussion instruments, and they had banned the use of percussion instruments because that wasn't the traditional way that most folks worship.
Wow. So
that was a lot of the reason of why the instruments were banned. But now they're coming back in and being a very important part of worship service.
Oh, the African history.
Absolutely.
Well, we got to let him get back on stage, it sounds like. And we appreciate your time there, sir.
Thank you.
And one more time, how can people get in touch with you?
You can get in contact with me at eieiodrum@hotmail.com.
You heard him.